Hey guys, it's Bales. I'm at DraftKings and going to very briefly review the winning Millionaire Maker lineup for FantasyLabs user Cubs fan 333. He got first and second in this for, I think it's 1.15 million on those two. He won over 1.4 million on the week, and I've gotten to know him a little bit over the years, just through DFS, and hung out with him in Boston for a bit in week one. And he's really awesome guy, really unique thinker, and really good at processing information and not being contrarian, I guess, in really smart ways. And one thing that he has done historically that I've noticed, I've never even really talked to him about it, but I always notice that he really heavily stacks games, more so than a lot of people think is optimal. And I think as we research this more and get more data, it probably is optimal to more heavily stack games than and teams than popular opinion. So you can see with his winning lineup here, which won on the pick six for the Cowboys in the last minute of the final game, and I believe it was a roughly 900K swing for Cubs fan, which is just crazy. But you can see he went with Wilson, Lockett, Richardson, and Jimmy Graham all together, and then in that same game, Will Fuller and Lamar Miller. So the majority of his lineup is in one game that turned into a shootout, obviously. Probably a really sharp game to be on. The total in that game, I think, moved up like 3 points throughout the week, and a lot of people just aren't going to use three receivers, and the narrative has been that they're going to cannibalize one another, and there's just not enough upside. And I think that's probably not necessarily true in the right situations. And the question people ask is, what are the chances that all of these guys score enough points for me to win? And that's very, very low. But the chances of you making any lineup that's going to win a contest with 200,000 plus lineups in it, those chances are very low. And so you're just trying to maximize the chances of winning. And so a lot of times lineups like this, I think, will look like they might have a lower ceiling than they actually do, and he's done that very, very well. And this particular game stack was very low owned across the board, with every player in the stack under 10% except for Russell Wilson. He used another correlated play with Zeke and the Cowboys, so obviously that worked at the end with the defense being up. But if the team's winning, usually gonna see a lot of carries for the running back at the end of the game, and obviously the Cowboys are gonna feed Zeke. And then his second lineup, not diversified at all. It was the minimum change. He just had Deshaun Watson at quarterback, so same game, and he won by just over 3 points, and just can't even imagine the swing on both sides. And for the guy who got third to drop on a pick six like that at the end of the game is pretty crazy. But congratulations to Cubs fan, really smart player, and I think a really good lesson here to think differently about your lineups than maybe other people, and definitely don't be afraid to what most people consider overstack certain teams and certain games, because if those things turn into a shootout, there's definitely a lot more upside than people think, and you really only need just one particular thing to happen, which is that the game turns into the shootout as opposed to all these isolated events.